Number 17, an item that was selling for $75 is reduced to $60. The percentage decrease in price is X percent, so they want to know the value of X. So they don't want to know by what percent it decreased. So here it was selling for $75 originally, it was reduced to $60, and there was a decrease. So to begin with, we have $75 or 75. Then the price is going to end up at $60, which means in between it had to drop by a percent. Okay? So for this, we're going to have to find out the percent, and it's always going to be the percent of what we started with. So it's going to be the percent, so we have 75 is what we started with, so minus, and then we want the percent of, or X times, that's going to be our percent, times 75 equals 60. So we're going to do our multiplication here, and that's just going to be 75x, just to make it a little easier. And then here we have an equation, so we want to solve this equation. So once again, we want to make this into a 0 and this into a 1. So to make this into a 0, we're going to subtract 75 from both sides. So when we subtract 75 from both sides of the equal sign, this becomes 0. 0 minus 75x equals a negative 75x. So we can just, that minus 75 we can think of as a negative 75. And here, we're going to also get a negative because we're starting with a number that's smaller. And once again, when we actually subtract, we actually do flip it around. We do the problem backwards and we get 15. So we get 15, but it's backwards, so it's negative. So now we have to get this as a 1. We do that. The opposite of multiplication is division. And we divide it by everything except the x. So by the negative, the 75. So we do the same over here, negative 75. So the negatives cancel. 75 over 75 is 1. Okay, so once again, two negatives always cancel. Anything over itself is 1, or divided by itself is 1. 1 times x gives us x. Here, our two negatives are going to cancel, and we're going to have 15 divided by 75. So if we do 15 divided by 75, so once again, 15 is the dividend, so it has to go on the inside. We can't actually do 15 as this here, so we're going to have to just put a decimal point and a 0 and think of it as 150. So we just put our decimal point in both places. And 75 times 2 is 150. So we get 0.2 as our x. So now we have to make that into a percent. To make something into a percent, we multiply it times 100. And whenever you multiply something by 100, you move your decimal point twice. So therefore, our answer is going to be 20% decrease. So x would then equal 20 for the number of percent.